check in on the latest buzz in the entertainment world.
Liz and Mike from 105.1 The Buzz joining us live right now. Good morning, you guys.
Morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. All right, I think this is fascinating. Dolly Parton, who somehow is in the headlines all the time still, typically for all the right reasons, declining her rock and roll nomination. Interesting decision here.
Yeah, it's because she's so fabulous. She deserves all of the awards because she made a statement yesterday and said that she was withdrawing herself from consideration because she didn't want to split the vote. And basically that she felt like there were people that were nominated that were more worthy than she was. And then she went on to say that she wants to eventually one day make a rock album. And that if at that point they still think that she should have a nomination, she would more than happily accept it. But why is she such a good person? Like, there was a time when they were going to build a statue for her, and instead she said, no, take that money and feed the poor. No, this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination, give it to someone else who deserves it more. Like, why is she such good people?
I don't know. Is this the case of her being really good, or is this like just major imposter syndrome? Like, Dolly Parton, you have to realize you are so deserving of this nomination. I don't get it.
I think it's a little bit of both here. And, you know, Dolly, how is she not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already? She is a musical icon, especially in the world of country music. There is not many names on the ladies' perspective that can ever be bigger than Dolly Parton. She is a game changer, a trailblazer, all the adjectives you could ever think of.
Plus, I count Jolene as a rock song. Like, that 100% has a rock vibe.
This was my question. It was like, I'm not trying to take away, like, I agree that she should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but she's obviously a country singer. And what is the line? What is the judgment here? I don't know how that works.
I mean, I feel like if you start trying to draw that border, that gets dicey because there's tons of artists that aren't traditionally rock and roll in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
In the same category of nominations, I mean, you've got Eminem.
Yeah.
Then you've got Rage Against the Machine that you would say, well, okay, well, that's rock. I would take that. But then you've also got Lionel Richie. So it's just kind of like, it's not always necessarily traditional rock you would think of.
Yeah.
They should really rename it. And I would absolutely recommend anybody going there. It is probably the greatest museum I've ever been to. There's not many reasons to visit the city of Cleveland. You probably shouldn't want to visit the city of Cleveland, but if you ever happen upon Cleveland, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Cleveland is it. I still think there's some fun stuff there. It's a cool city, but yes, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is awesome. I went when I was younger, and I wish that I want to go back now as an adult because I was a kid and I didn't fully appreciate, how cool so many of these people were that were in there. Yeah, it's neat. But hopefully she'll get nominated again next year.
I'm sure she will.
She'll accept it that time around.
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
I think she should just win all the awards. Nobel Peace Prize, the Peabody, like everything. The Young Authors Award, anything that is something you can win, Dolly Parton should automatically.
There eventually just needs to be a Dolly Parton award. Eventually there's just going to be an award called the Dolly. That's what I think is going to happen.
Just turn the USA into Dollywood. No.
I could actually see that happening with the Country Music Awards, have a icon award named after her.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first.
I know she is in the Country Music Hall of Fame already. So that one she felt deserving of. But yeah, rock and roll should be next. Okay, so the Backstreet Boys, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just yet. But yet, we'll see. But okay, so this is wild, a little alternate universe kind of thing here. Nick Carter could have been, instead of in the Backstreet Boys, in NSYNC instead.
Wow.
What? Right? Isn't this just, there's so many alternate universes right now my mind is going to. But he did an interview, and it was with AJ McLean, which is one of the members of the Backstreet Boys, and talked about how back before he joined BSB, he had the chance to join the Mickey Mouse Club, and Disney offered him $50,000, and they went back and forth and decided Backstreet Boys were the way to go. Now, at the same time, we need some flow charts for this part. Ryan Gosling was actually offered a spot in the Backstreet Boys, and he ended up turning it down for the Mickey Mouse Club.
What?
So there's this whole alternate universe where if Nick Carter and Ryan Gosling would have made slightly different choices, completely different boy bands. But if we look at Nick Carter alone and he had gone into NSYNC, you have to wonder what member would he replace? And your gut reaction is Lance Bass, because Lance is the last one who came into the group, and Lance was actually originally a replacement for someone else, but he sang those low notes. Nick Carter was like 12. He would have had to replace Justin or JC, which would have changed the boy band timeline completely.
Interesting. What's also interesting about that too is like, you think about like Nick Carter, like you think Justin Timberlake is like the leader of NSYNC if you're gonna throw leaders, right? Like he's the guy. Nick Carter is that guy for Backstreet Boys. So like I think it worked out. Oh, obviously it worked out for everybody, but like Nick Carter got to be the guy with Backstreet Boys. He wasn't gonna take over JT. There's no way. There's no way.
People drew lines. There were alliances. Like, were you Team BSB or Team NSYNC? Like, and these guys could have been on like completely different bands. It's just wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
We had to have a wall of posters for Nick Carter when we were kids, and then another wall for Justin Timberlake. Imagine having them on the same poster.
Wow.
I can't live in a world like this.
That would have been a super group. I don't know.
Backstreet Boys would not have done well because they would not have pulled us in with Howie. And I'm sorry to say that, Backstreet
But Ryan
Boys
Gosling, had he made the group, you never know.
Maybe. Well, and like think about the acting career that Ryan Gosling went on to have. Like, would he have done that if he'd been in a boy band?
Right.
Wow.
This is a whole thing we can go down where Ryan Gosling was actually adopted by Justin Timberlake's mom for a short period of time in the 90s because he's actually Canadian, so that he could stay and do the whole like boy band Disney thing. Like there is so many details that make this so intricate, but I
feel like a crazy person with pictures all over their walls and red string, and it's like this could be here and this could have done this. Wow.
It's the butterfly effect. Like if you just change one thing, how different it could all be.
Crazy to think about it. We have to take a break, and we're just gonna sit here and contemplate.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do got to roll, but we could talk about this forever, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for this this mind trip here.
Yeah.
Bye, friends.
All right, bye. You can listen to Liz and Mike every weekday morning on 105.1 The Buzz.
All right.